entrepreneur and you're ready to save some time, I want to talk to you a little bit about your daily method of operation. Maybe you know it as a DMO. Maybe you don't even realize that there are actions that you need to follow. But I have some tips to help you out here, especially if you've either been just trying to fit in a lot of stuff and are starting to feel that overwhelm, that frustration because life keeps happening. Maybe you're brand new, maybe you've been stuck for a while. Listening to this, I have something that you might find helpful. And I think I'm actually going to be doing a screen share in one of my groups. So if that's something that you would find helpful, listen into. So let's talk about all the things to build a business on social media, to grow influence. I think a lot of people, when they start their business, they kind of do a deep dive and they feel like they have to be this big influencer and have all the things. Like if you know Rachel Hollis, or if you follow Trim Healthy Mama, or Clean Food Crush, what's her name? Rachel Meyer? I might have them mixed up, but either way, both of those are influencers too. So I'm going to share a little bit that maybe can help you out. And also, by the way, I think I've got everything running today. So let me know what social media platform you're on, where you're tuning in from. I always love to see what's going on in this world, who I've got on here. I just connected with so many amazing entrepreneurs, so many new people, and I'm really excited to have you all connected with me because there's so much that we can learn from each other. So maybe there's some tips in here I can share for you. So let's talk about DMO, your daily method of operation. What are you doing? How are you doing it? I think, so I'm going to backtrack a little bit, right? I originally, when I started in my business, I started in 2012. It was all in person. I did like the vendor events and the job fairs and, all the in-person stuff. They called it belly to belly, right? I went to restaurants. I sold stuff there. It was a lot of fun. Did have a lot of fun. I will say that. But so I did all that in person. And then, I didn't realize when I moved out of state that I could have taken my business with me, because back then you were on like MySpace. Like that's a long time ago. Anyway, so fast forward to like 2017, right? I started my business on social media. And I started like I think most people do when they get started. You look around and see what other people are doing, right? Maybe you run into like Gary Vaynerchuk stuff, or maybe you're running into Ray Higdon stuff, or maybe you're running into John Melton stuff, or, whoever it is that you end up following, checking out. And those are three very different people who do everything very different ways. So you're probably having like 1,000 things going through your head and you're like, oh my gosh, which do I have to do? This person says I do this person says I do that. There's a lot of different methods. So anyway, when I brought my business online in 2017, I luckily found a team that was a lot more helpful after a few trial and errors, because I started out and everyone's like, oh, you just talked to 1,000 people, and they had no clue. And I belly flopped. It was horrible, absolutely horrible. I went through, I think it was like 3 different companies before I figured out, what I fit into, where I fit in. Because here's the thing, every company has like a different community, a different structure. And so you might not get along with the people in one, or the strategies that a company uses or a team uses, you might not get along with. But luckily, I ended up finding a team where it's like step by step. This is what you do. This is how you do it. You plug into the group. We give you the daily steps, and each day you just do the thing, right? It sounds super simple. But as you start growing, or maybe if you've got a lot going on, sometimes a lot of that can get frustrating. Or here's the thing, if you focus on the stuff that you didn't get done, right? How many times, if you're one of those people, let me know, how many times have you said, oh, I'm going to do this, and then it never happens, or I'm going to do that, and then you never get to it, right? And a lot of people who come into network marketing that I talk with, a lot of new people on our team, they hit that. They're like, oh, okay, this is what I do. And then, they've got their kid's soccer game. They've got a vacation they're doing with their family. So what are some of those actions, though, that really matter? Like when I look at actual actions that's going to help build a business, that's going to bring people in, there's the follows, there's the friend requests, there's the messages, the posts, the replies, the birthday messages, making friends. I had to write it all down because I had to really think about everything that I do, all the posts that you create. Maybe you've got a blog, a website, you've got funnels, lead magnets, an email list, groups. How many of those do you have? Did you know that there is an easy way to kind of add some automation, and you're not going to take away the actual person, right? So if you have all those thousands of things that I listed out, what is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, plus stories, 12. That's like 12 different actions that I try to cram into a day. And granted, the one thing we tell people in our team is you want to fit it into the nooks and crannies, like 10 minutes here, 15 minutes there. But sometimes life happens, right? There's a lot going on. And maybe you forget parts of it here and there. And then as you drop down, your daily method of operation turns into like one thing or two things, because you're like, oh, what can I actually get done? And then before you know it, you're not doing anything. You're stuck. You're not making progress. You're not going anywhere. You've got no sales coming in, no income coming in. And then you give up on yourself. And that's a lot of times like the people who are company hoppers. Maybe you've been through 5, 6, 7, 10, 11, 12 different companies, right? Before you figure out either that you're going to give up and just quit, or that you're going to find a way to make it work. And so one of the biggest things that I really had to learn, especially because I learned how to do everything backwards, everyone nowadays, you come in and everyone's like, oh, you have your conversations and you do this and you do that. I learned backwards. I learned by building a website first. I learned by building a blog first, your lead magnets, your email list. So like I had all these big things. And the downside of doing it that way is you feel like you have to be an expert. And I think even with doing it the flip side, I think people still get stuck in their head where they want to be an expert. You're not. You want to know exactly what to say. You want to know how to do it, when to do it, what to do. And so it ends up being where you do nothing. So what if you could take some of that time back? What if you could take some of that frustration back? What if you could take some of the weight off your shoulders and let a tool kind of launch things for you and get you going in your day? What if you had a tool that could make it where it's almost like having a virtual assistant? And so you just type in what you want, you hit a button and go. Now, I will say the thing about it is it's not completely removing you. Because I feel like when I talk to some people in my team, they're like, oh, or some of my clients, they're like, oh, but I want to have that personal experience too. And yes, I am completely with you on that, because social media is social, people are people, and everyone's got a story. Everyone is doing something, everyone has, stuff they've got to work on, things they want to learn, do, be. And so anyway, the point being, adding a little automation, right? What if you could take some of those things that were on my list, the follows, the birthday messages, the sending friend requests, the initial connections before you go and do anything. Like if some of those, or even the initial posts that you're going to create, if some of those things you take an hour to do one of, what if a tool could do it for you? And then you get maybe 40 new connections in an hour, or maybe 50 new connections in an hour. And the thing of it is, if you're like me, a lot of times no replies are hard. If someone doesn't reply back, you're like, oh my God, it's me. I'm a horrible person. But no replies usually just means that people are busy, right? So when you don't have that part of yourself getting stuck because the tool is pushing it forward for you, so you can't sit there in your head, that's for me super helpful. And I know a lot of the people that we've been working with in our groups using this tool, it's been helpful for them too, helping them get out of their heads, get out of their space. I've seen so many messages of people where they're like, I've been stuck for a year, 2 years, and now all of a sudden I've got, 15 new people. And it's all because the tool's helping them get out of their head, but it's also saving time, right? Because a lot of people that we work with do this on the side of a job, right? You probably have a full-time job that you're doing and you want to make some extra income, but you don't want to take away from that. So adding this little bit of automation is also going to save you time. It's going to pull you out of your head. It's going to help save you some time because it does it for you. And then the people that you actually connect with, instead of having those people that really want nothing from what you do, you're going to actually connect with people that are interested. I think that's my favorite part of using this tool, is the people who are actually interested and not having to worry about, the wrong people. So if you're someone who your daily methods are really weighing you down, you feel like you're overwhelmed, you're frustrated, you feel like you can't make that time fit, you feel like you want to grow, you have big ideas, maybe you just need a little extra push forward, right? This might be something that would be helpful for you, right? Adding that automation to what you're doing. So if you want to check that out, let me know. I have some stuff I can send you. But before I hop off here, I did want to leave you with some tips. So when you're setting up a daily method of operation, the things that you're doing, you want to think of, and I kind of started to touch on this earlier, your income producing activities. And that's not going to be scrolling on social media. It's not going to be, checking out all the 1,000 things that are on there and sending, random stuff here and there. It's going to be the actual connections and engagements that you're doing to bring more eyes onto what you're doing, right? Because the more eyeballs, the better. And a lot of times, new people or people who are stuck, you're just not bringing in those new connections. You're not having those new things, new people coming towards you. And so if you are someone who is feeling, any of that, you need to start finding ways to connect with new people. And there's so many, like you can go through hashtags, you can go through pages, you can go through groups. Again, adding this little bit of automation makes it easier because you're connecting very easily to all these new people. And then you're just able to message the ones that actually want to talk to you, which is really, really helpful. So when you're creating those new connections, new engagements, the more you do to show how you can help, the more response you're going to get. I feel like, and I know I did this in the beginning too, I've talked with so many clients in groups and so many people in groups that they are more just posting promotion. So they're saying, this is what I've got. This is what I've got. This is what I've got. But the thing that you've got is not what people are looking for. They're looking for what it does. They're looking for how it can make their life better. So just be mindful when you're doing your actions and you're creating your content and doing everything that you've got to do. Be mindful that you are showing up in a way that serves and provides what it is that people need. So, and I think if you're not really sure, one of the best things I ever did was start using like the polls and stuff in stories. So if you're not really sure how you can serve people, what you can help people with when it comes to your product, you can use those different polls and things. You can Google search. I love using searches in Google and on YouTube. And that way I can kind of, you're like all in my space here, dude. You can kind of get more of a targeted idea for who it is that you're helping and how you can help them. So that makes it easier for you as you connect with new people, create new content, stuff like that. So hope you found it helpful. And if you've been on videos previously, I'm sure you know Denozo. He normally hops on with Diane Hockman when she's hanging out with me too. So anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful night. And if you have any questions, be sure to send me a DM and I'll be able to either create a video for it or at least point you in the right direction. So I hope you have a great night. Bye, guys.